because sometimes, you know, it get a little bit longer with the other group, and then you're like, you get really in a tough situation. Let me put the layout here. Title, yeah, but the thing is, it is title. When we do the recording and when we see the recording, it basically don't record like we are here. It records just like the person who is talking. And I'm like, I wish we could be all together all the time, even in the recording. But let's go. We started late. We were waiting for you. So tonight is May 23rd. We are summarizing the last chapters of this beautiful book, Renunciation, by the Spirit of Emmanuel. It was to the ones that have read the book and followed with us. You are changed for sure, because this is a very powerful book. Talks about the lives of a certain of the people, and then they reincarnated in the same period of time that some people were still living, and they had lived in the same period of time, and they return again. So very changing, very, very changing. So before we go, let's do a quick prayer so we can inspire our group to finalize it well. It was a very nice experience. So anyone would like to do the prayer, the initial prayer?
I can do it.
Okay. Okay, but you are going to be doing the summary.
Yes. Yes.
So I do it. And then Brian do the final prayer.
Okay.
I'm not even asking, I'm just saying.
Lord.
I got voluntold.
God, our Mother, Father, thank you so much for bringing all of us together here tonight while we are celebrating the ending of this beautiful book. At this moment, we ask the inspiration of the good spirits to help all of us to absorb these beautiful teachings and to inspire our dear friend Sonia that will be doing this summary for us. Thank you. So be it.
So be it.
Very good, Sonia. We can
okay. Because these were 3 chapters, the last 3 chapters of the book. I wrote all my summary so I wouldn't miss explaining anything. So I'll start reading it as best as possible and as slow as possible so we can talk about it. So after Cyril's death, family life at the Davenport's mansion had become hard to bear. Susanna wandered through the house demented because after she confessed that she had plotted to separate Magdalena from Cyril, she just went demented, mad. Her father, James, spent his time crying. Beatrice was confused from all that had happened. Alcyone took shelter in her faith and her new duties. She never abandoned Susanna. Robbie continued to work at St. Jake's and was in a deep melancholy. One day, when he went to Susanna's house,
wait. Let me just stop you for a moment.
Okay.
Let's just pick up everything. So we stopped in the moment that the mother of Alcyone was dying.
Magdalena.
And got like kind of in delirious, screaming, calling for her husband that coincidentally had arrived in the house, but she was in the bedroom, and she was like calling his name, and then he heard the voice, and he was like, wow, this sounds like Magdalena, and then he kind of rushed to the bedroom. and then met her after so many years that they both were thinking they were dead. So he was sure his wife was dead, and then he just find her dying. She is actually dying now. And she also thought he was dead, but she kind of, I think, I don't remember, let me correct me if I'm wrong. Magdalena was kind of in and out, dying in the spiritual realm and on earth. So she really didn't understand if he was dead or alive.
Right.
I think.
Yes.
I think.
She thought he
And
was
then
her hallucination.
What was his name? I forgot his name.
Cyril.
Oh, Cyril. Yes.
Cyril.
Yes. And she's like, oh, Cyril, honey. More or less like that. And then all this commotion because the whole family was like surprised. And so at this moment, they kind of stay together for a little bit, and then she actually dies. And then Cyril now discovered that his actual wife plotted to pretend that the first wife was dead, and now he is extremely angry and was even thinking about killing her. And I think he goes to kill her and has a heart attack. Is it something like that?
He had a stroke.
A stroke. Yes, he had a stroke of so much anger, and then he died.
Yes.
In
Yes.
the same day.
Not in the same day, but maybe the next
24 hours.
I think within like 48 hours, he was dead.
Right,
Oh,
right.
God, that's really a devastating situation. I can just imagine their daughter, not even Alcyone, the younger sister.
Beatrice.
Beatrice, yes.
Yes, she discovered her mother created some kind of plot, and her father ended up dying. So all these things happen. Alcyone is the daughter of the first marriage, and then that the second wife separate them. Cyril thinks she is dead. Then he remarries this other lady. What's her name?
Susanna.
Susanna, forget about this. Susannas are terrible. So Susanna marries Cyril, and then they end up having a daughter. So they are half sisters. Alcyone and what's the name? Beatrice. As you can see, I'm horrible with names. You guys are lucky that I memorized your names. So Beatrice and Alcyone, they are half sisters, and then this is a good thing because they really love and appreciate each other. So from all the situations, these two are very connected. So that's everything that happened. And now Sonia is picking up from that. So I did this summary because, people who listen to this or see this, they kind of get lost. And Matthew, I don't think you read the book, so you're probably like, what's going on? So it's hard to pick up, and Sonia has a hard task because has to summarize 3 chapters.
Thank you. Summary.
And so much happens in these 3 chapters too, because you got a time jump in there too.
Yes. It has to be really a summary because it's so many details.
Yes.
But the most important
that's
things,
what was hard about it, that there were so many things happening that you had. I didn't have enough time to do it because
Yes, but let's do it interactive. We all finished the book, Yvonne, Sandra, Brian. So if you wanna put something that help Sonia out. Okay, Sonia.
Okay,
go ahead.
So one day, James suggested to Alcyone that Robbie should come live with them, but Alcyone did not agree because she felt he should continue working at the church. So Robbie wanted to be transferred from that school because still all the boys from the school will make fun of him, and he, making fun of his deformity and of the but James told him deformities of the body than of the soul are not important. What's important that the work was blessed from God, and he also told him he will talk to Henry, that is Beatrice's fiancé, to change him to a closed school. And Robbie thanked him, but Alcione doesn't want to do that because she wants to make sure that he keeps busy. So Alcione's dedication to Susana was a living example of love and was deeply appreciated by the family. So everybody was very happy with the way she was treating Susana after knowing what Susana had done to her family. So a year after Cyril and Magdalena died, James' health, James is Susana's father, and got worse. So they called Susana's sister, Caroline. She was a very greedy person. And so she came to visit her father, not because she wanted to see him because he was sick, but she wanted to know about the will. Excuse me. The day after her arrival, James passed away. And after her funeral, Caroline's son insisted they go back home. She said she needed to see her father's will. And she was surprised because her father had left all his fortune to Alcyone. And so Caroline thought that Alcyone had convinced James to leave her his money, his fortune. So she was very upset, and she talked to Beatrice. But the thing is that Beatrice agreed with the will, and she told her that she was happy that he had done that. So what Caroline said, she was going to fight it, but Beatrice told her that if she did, she will expose her to the society of what she had done. So she just left and went back home. So Robbie, time goes on, and Robbie was nearly grown. And one night, later than usual, and Alcyone sensed that something must have happened to him. A carrier came to her house looking for her. Robbie was involved in an accident where a carriage, he got in front of it, and the carriage, I guess, when
The horse kicked him.
Yes, and so he was weakening very rapidly. He sensed he sensed she was there and expressed his final thoughts to her. He had ordered the gendarmes to let the driver go because it was his fault. He looked at Alcyone for her approval of his decision. She told him he had done very well. He said he felt his skin deformity different. His hand had 5 fingers and his eye was healed. He was going to be all right. That was what was happening while he was dying. Alcyone told him that it was redemptive proof that God had restored his soul's health. Alcyone helped him and he passed away. That is the end of this chapter 5, where a lot of things happen there, but everything is Alcyone keeps suffering as they had told her when she wanted to come and be with her loved one.
This is beautiful, because we that read the book, we know that this boy, he was the reincarnation of Antero, that
Yes.
was Alcione, like Alcione, was Magdalena
Susanna.
cousin.
Oh, he was Magdalena's cousin.
Magdalena's cousin. And he was interested in her. He wanted to get married to her, and he was involved in a slave traffic and then kidnapping young kids. So he ended up dying and reincarnating almost automatically back to be with Magdalena, but now through love, not just like a physical attraction love.
Yeah, because he had plotted with Susanna about separating Magdalena from Cyril.
Oh yes,
So,
also yes, I forgot.
Yes, yes.
And
when he, I'm sorry.
it's interesting. It's interesting that now that Magdalena had passed away, there was no reason living, because he had come back because of Magdalena.
Oh yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, but he also came back because he was selling slaves.
Yes.
And that's why his hand was deformed, because with that hand he was signing all the slaves to be sold.
Yes.
So the family that lived next to Magdalena had him killed because he was, I guess, doing bad, keeping the money and doing his business on the side from those slaves, and they didn't like that, so that's why they killed him. And he was dying to come back because he wanted to.
Soap opera! My goodness!
No, I know.
Great book.
I know. A lot of things. So Susanna lived 2 years after Robbie's death. Alcione occupied her time helping Beatrice to prepare her wedding, and Beatrice was worried about her because she wanted for her to have a companion, to get married and have a family. And so they were going to go and live in America. And so she asked her why wouldn't she come with them, and maybe she can find somebody there. But Alcione confessed and told her that she already was sort of like spoken to to someone. So she wanted to go and find him and get him. So that's where she goes to find Charles. So the last time she had seen him was when he visited her, and he left suddenly. That's when he saw her hugging her father, which he didn't know that he was Cyril, which he didn't know that was her father. So he left very upset. And so what happened, he did talk to her mother, and he said that she told him that he looked different because he was upset for what he had seen. So Beatrice suggested for her to get in touch with him. And so, but Alcione wanted to go in person. So she prepared a trip to Castilla la Bella to find Charles. So when she gets there, she goes on the trip, and when she gets there, she hadn't had any news from Charles. So when she gets there, she asks the gentleman at the inn describe Charles and tells her how he looked and what he did. And the servant said that he knew him. Then he thought for a moment, and he said that he knew who he was, but now he was not a priest. He was a very wealthy man. And Alcione sent Charles a message for him to meet her at the church. When he got the message, he didn't even think about Alcyon. He thought it was somebody else that uh, that was wanted to talk to him for for to give him information about Alcyon. So he could not imagine what the surprise that was waiting for him was. So he arrived at the church and was in shock to see Alcyon, the love of his life. They went outside to the garden where Charles told her how disappointed he was. He's bringing back what happened. He was when he saw her hugging that man. So she explained to him that that man was her father. So it was worse for him. He started crying because he had already gotten married. Because he thought that Alcyon did not want him. So so that was bad. Then Alcyon asked him if he still would like to leave to try a new life. So he said, no, I am married. I have, and so now Alcyon was the one that was in shock because she could not believe that he would forget his promise. She told him not to worry about her, that God had something else for them. There was nothing to do but to go back to Beatrice, because she had already talked to him about reincarnation. And so that's why she was still in hope that she will come back to be with him. And she reminded him. She would consecrate herself to religious life and wait for Charles in another world. In other words, she's talking about reincarnation.
Did they talk? Did they talk how old she was there? Do we have any idea of how old she was when she went to Castilla?
She was in her 30s.
30s. Oh my God, you're still very young.
I know. She suffers so much. But they told her before she reincarnated, they did tell her, because she really did not need to do that, but she wanted to sacrifice herself for love.
Wow.
After recalling Father Damiano's warning about the religious life, she decided she would don the religious habit and devote herself to the heart of Jesus. At the time of taking her vows, she asked if she could participate in some endeavor in America, because that's where Beatrice was, and she wanted to go see her. And if she could serve in Spain, and the Mother Superior said that that was possible. The Mother Superior asked her what name she wanted to take, and she said, Mother of Jesus Crucified. The interrogation was over. That's the end of chapter 7. I mean, 6. Now,
Yeah, can I just interject here? So when she went to when she joined a nun, she had to change her name. So that's why she changed it to Mary.
But wait, one thing that I'm kind of, if she wants to go to the United States to meet Beatrice, why she decided to join the nuns in Spain?
No. What she said was that, once you become a nun, you're not supposed to leave there. You're not supposed to. And she said, I might request to visit Beatrice, to go there. So she might make that request in the future, just to visit her, because Beatrice would have had children and she might want to see them. So she just wanted to have that opportunity to visit her.
Okay. Because she wanted to make sure that even though she is in the convent, that she is able to go and see her sister.
Yeah. So she doesn't want to leave there. She just want to go to visit and come back.
Right.
And the other thing she said too, that was Charles's name, that maybe he might try to, if anything happened to her, she wanted the nuns, like if she died, she wanted the nuns to inform Beatrice in America and Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
Wow.
something would happen to her.
God.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's a life of sacrifices, really. My
Yes. It is. It is. She was very. Oh gosh, she lived her life just for
I can't imagine meeting the love of my life and he's married, and then I'm gonna tell him, okay, now you're married, forget about.
Yeah. But the thing is, Charles was in a very unhappy marriage. The marriage was not going well. He actually said to Alcione, we could leave and go to America and leave everything behind and start all over again.
No, she was too dedicated to do that. She was too
Not this other one. Yeah,
yes,
she's very. She's never gonna accept that type of thing.
Yes. Now this is chapter 7, which is the last chapter.
This chapter, I think I never cried so much in my life in this chapter. You have no idea.
Oh, please. I know. Tell me about it. So now we are in the early 18th century. Alcyone is in her 40s now. So all this time has passed. When she was in her days of seclusion, she wondered if she should have gone with Beatrice to America. She hoped to be close to her home someday so she could help him, Charles. Because even though she knows he's married, she wants to make sure that his wife knows that she doesn't mean anything romantically. She just wants to help them. I can't be that sacrifice. No.
Oh God.
I know. So
I'm far away from this woman.
yes, because she could see that he was a very weak person, individual. So it was inconceivable to pursue new activities in America. So she decided not to go. So after taking her vows, she remained in France for about a year before being transferred to Spain, where she worked in Granada for 5 years. Her dedication to the gospel encouraged her after other hearts to follow her example. After a long time, she settled in La Carmelite community, which those were very secluded nuns. But first, she went back to Avila, where she found out that Charles was no longer there and had left for France, which that's when he divorced. But she didn't know that. Some said that he had done the Cossack. Alcyone was sorry to hear that, but she refrained from making any comments. Yeah, because she knew he didn't have the calling for that. So Alcyone, or Mary of Jesus Crucified, was substituting for the prioress, which is the mother superior, because of illness. While she was ill, Alcyone was converting the place into a temple of work and joy. Because she had made so many changes, the Father General of the order was falsely informed, and the monk that was helping her was replaced. Father Osorio was assigned to find out about the industrious work the humble Carmelitas were doing. With time, everyone complained about his conduct. He would wear a mask of sanctimony when in reality he was a nasty, wicked man. He began to express distaste for everything he saw. He began to offer the nuns to accept his indecent proposals. They went to Alcyone, who in turn went to talk to the Mother Superior, who explained to her that she was aware of unworthy priests, but she was too weak to talk to him for Alcyone to talk. Many years before, when Alcyone was going into the nunship, she had also faced Father Osorio, and he had done the same thing to her. So she remembered that. So she admonished she must not make him feel. That means she mustn't make him feel that he had done something wrong. And a week later, she went to talk to Father Osorio, who assumed a hypocritical attitude and felt insulted. He accused Alcyone of having an insolent attitude. Father Osorio told Alcyone that her ideas proved that she was crazy, and he condemned them in their totality. After going through some discussion, Father Osorio told Alcyone that he was going to denounce her to the Holy Office. She replied to proceed, and that she will intercede for him in her prayers. Father Jose del Santissimo was Charles Clenaghan. He was the head, yes, he was the head of the Holy Office.
Oh my God.
Yes. So now, a Jesuit, defected and desperate, he tried to establish in the Holy Office. Despite his loving heart, he was now completely blinded by hatred. So he forgot all of Father Damiano's and Alcyone's conversations and guidance and the noble ideas of his past. When he received Father Osorio's request to promise him his full support, Father Osorio returned to Medina with 2 guards to arrest Alcyone. Poor thing. Before leaving, she went to talk to the Mother Superior and asked her what she should expect. Oh, Mother Superior told her, yes, it's very dramatic.
It's getting bad. It's getting bad. It's getting worse and worse.
Yes, yes. Mother Superior told her about the abomination. It meant starvation, imprisoned, or torture. That is why imprisoned monks and nuns almost visited by the so-called justice would die. When Alcyone arrived in Madrid, she was settled in a cell in one of the dungeons. There, they took her New Testament book and the crucifix, but could not help. She could keep the crucifix, but she could not keep the New Testament because she had been accused of being a heretic and Lutheran. At that time, the Lutherans were
Lutherans were really bad.
Lutheran. Oh God.
Yeah, I can't live in that time frame.
Your area, Brian.
That's why they're here. They got ran off.
Yeah.
They came across the ocean.
They run away from there.
Yes. Father Jose el Santissimo, Charles, ordered them to take her there. She was to get rations of bread until he had time to hear her. She was kept in darkness except when they would bring her some bread and water. Because of the dampness and malnutrition, her health started to diminish. After 10 months, 10 whole months in the cell, Alcyone languished slowly. She began total depletion of bodily strength. She slow her mother. She saw her mother and Father Damiano. She was close to death, and still no Charles. A doctor was called to examine her, and he said she was at her deathbed. Jose was annoyed at this. That's why he
was annoyed.
yeah, and explained that this case had been waiting for him for the last 10 months. And the doctor told him to go see her as soon as possible. But Jose said he will go in the morning to take her statement. When he arrived at her cell, he did not recognize her because she was so weak, so thin that she was. But when she saw him, she started calling his name. Oh, God. He was in shock.
Wow.
And she went on to tell him she never could get over him.
So
He
funny.
told her about his wife betrayed him. She had an affair. And and he reached for Alcion because he wanted to find her to get back with her, but he couldn't find her because she was already in the convent. He asked Alcion. Well, they go on and on talking about what happened, and so he asked Alcion once again to forgive him because because I know because she could not speak. Because she was so weak, she kissed the crucifix and put it up to his lips for him to kiss. Hymns of angelic beauty rang in the air. Cyril, Damiano, and other friends stood in attitude of prayer. Magdalena, holding her daughter, kissed her tenderly. The prayers of the redeemed united with the sublime soul that was leaving the earth. So this is what they said. Now I'm going to read from here. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they that are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And she was gone.
And then the book ends like this.
The book ends like this. I am telling you, Charles is never going to learn.
Basically, he wasted another lifetime.
Exactly.
Even with the help of Alcione.
He never tried to better himself. He never tried to accept his life.
My goodness.
Even when he saw her with her father, he should have waited and asked her. This is my
Yeah.
waited and asked her, who was that? And at that time, he would have told her, and then he would have waited for her. But no, he was so close-minded.
Oh my God. So if the book ends there, is because nothing really improved in his situation. He probably is full of remorse, but as we know, remorse is only the beginning. If you don't do something to act and help others and improve yourself, it doesn't help.
Exactly.
So
And worse, he was in the religious hell. He was religious and he was full of hatred.
Yes, like we know, that time the church was just using the church power to kill their enemies, to steal property of people, and so many bad things happen in the name of Jesus. Oh God!
Yes. And while she was in the cell, she could hear the woman being tortured and probably dying.
Yes. Wow. I don't know what Alcione is gonna do, but I hope she gives up at this point.
Yes.
Because when he dies,
I
he
hope
will go again. Please, please, pretty, please.
I hope she decides that she doesn't need Charles and stay as a spirit.
It's just like, listen, Charles, I understand, honey, but I'm not coming back for you anymore. Okay, now you improve, and then let me know when you're a little bit better. I go to visit you in the spiritual realm. I'm not gonna reincarnate.
Exactly.
Wow, but yeah, I remember when I read this last chapter, I cried so much because I start thinking how much he's gonna go in pain, knowing that the woman he loved, he actually allowed to be tortured and to suffer and feel so bad.
He killed her. He killed her.
Yes.
Indirectly, he killed her.
Her and many other people in the cell.
Yes.
And I also cried thinking me being her, and like I absolutely hate this person, and then discovering that guy that I knew, oh gosh. So it is, wow, it is an amazing book, amazing book.
Yes.
Amazing book. Oh gosh. So
I know. It's exhausting.
Yvonne, Brian, Sandra, what do you have to finalize the words about the book? I understand too much. I'm not an evolved spirit. I'm just like,
Oh.
I mean, this is definitely one that it messes with your mind. Like you said, just as you said, it's like the twists and the turns. But then now take what we've learned from Spiritism and all the books we've read and everything else. You know, this is my nasty little habit of linking it with the other books. And you start seeing how you can see, like, from the very first chapter, it set it all up where you know that Pollux is coming down, who's going to be Charles, and then you have Alcione coming down, even though she's like, you don't need to go there, but it's going to be hard for you. And she says, I'm okay with it. Not only does she live that life, like she did not need to come here, and you can see it all through her life. She holds true to the values of God the whole way through. And yet, while she's there, she's helping all these other people around her through her entire life. And even and I think by her death, it's never said it, but you would think that the amount of torment and torture Charles goes through when he sees that the love of his life is the woman that is in a prison cell and dies right in front of him. And he was so wrapped up in being an inquisitor and vengeance and everything else. That may have been the spark. That may have been that final straw that will open his spirit up. And who's to say that that this may be the person that will become the next Emmanuel? Just like you saw when Emmanuel as Publius Lentulus, you saw his conversion. You saw his moment where he realized his error. This may be the Emmanuel stuck with the story, maybe because he can link the two over.
Yeah.
Emmanuel had that same kind of moment. He saw the death of his wife Livia and realized that she was not being adulterous. She had found something even better. And then he doesn't find out about it until later. And that's when he realized that, oh my, I was wrong. And here's the exact same story to two different people. Livia, like Alcione.
with this line of thought that I believe it is possible. It's really possible because he will live all the rest of the, I don't know how many extra years he lived, but he will have this in his mind that he kills the woman he actually loved so much.
Right.
But
right.
similar to Emmanuel, who not the same thing, but the same kind of situation that she ended up dying, and then he discovered that she was actually a wonderful person. The next reincarnations of Emmanuel nevermore were with Livia. He was by himself. So I hope Alcione says, my lovely Pollux, I tried my last time. I will love you, but I will wait for you for your improvement, because she did, and as we saw in the beginning of the book, that was not the first reincarnation she had with him, that he made her suffer really physically.
All the times that they had come back, he had made her suffer.
It's like unbelievable. My God, this guy, it's hard to improve for this guy. It's really hard. So I hope, Brian, that he really did this really cool.
Well, because now it's the time where he imposed his suffering on himself. You don't really, he like, just using what you just said, he really did not impose suffering on her. Around, it was the world that imposed the suffering. It was the circumstances of the moment that implied the suffering. It's like she finds this woman, or she finds him, and it's like the love of his life, but he is already committed to the church. So yes, that's a suffering, but it's a worthy suffering, and one that she was willing to bear. Same thing as when she finds her father and he comes back in her life after leaving the church. He's like, I can't leave you. I'm helping my father, but she can't say that. But because how fragile it is, knowing that she is a governess to her own father, and not even her mother knows, because she doesn't want to create a tempest, doesn't want to create chaos. Right. And so that her mother does like, when she finally says as a spirit, or it's like has that spirit dream where she says, oh, yes, my beloved husband will come meet me tomorrow, only to find out that the spirits probably inspired Cyril to come and visit. Like, they intentionally made him come to visit, so that the spirit stepped in and made sure that he was there to see his wife one last time. And then finding out everything that goes on, and then yes, he gets reunited with her in death, being buried side by side. And yet you also see that Susanna, even with all the pain and all the torment she caused, all the suffering she caused to Alcione, and perhaps because of what happened with her in these past lives with Pollux, she was able to endure the suffering, forgive Susanna for all that she's done, and keep the bond of love with Susanna and Beatrice, because it benefits both of them. It may not benefit her, Alcione, but it benefits Susanna, and it helps lift her up. She doesn't fall into a pit of despair. And Beatrice still keeps her mother, even though it creates this not very ugly cloud. But the fact that here the victim is taking care of the person that hurt her the most.
Yes.
My God, I'm amazed.
The one thing, though, despite all the sorrow that had during her challenges during her life, that her spirit was being elevated from all the trials that she had to undergo on this life. So she became a much more elevated spirit by the time she left.
Oh yeah. The distance between her and Cyril getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, so she also benefited, maybe not on earth, but tenfold, 100-fold when she went back to spirit form.
Yeah, because even when they did wrong to her, she never got upset. She always felt better good for them.
Yeah, she was
Pray for them. So like you said, she's probably was more elevated spirit.
Yeah, so she really proved why she is in a different constellation, why she's in a different a planet, because she is so much better.
Yes.
And it proves that she really didn't need to come. And as her mentor said, that you're going to face a lot of struggles, and he's not ready to improve yet. But love is blind. Love is blind. And as Yvonne said, yes, she ended up benefiting from this, because she actually knew how to live well, to endure all the pain, and helped so many family members. And we know that we reincarnate amongst families, so all these other members improved because of her. And because of her also, Antero improved, because she supported him when he returned in the reincarnation. So amazing example of a spirit. It's just like, makes me feel really bad, because I'm so far away. I'm like, oh my goodness. Her actions, I'm just like, oh my God. Oh gosh. So, but unbelievable, really amazing book. I think it's the fourth time I read this book.
So are we going to continue with the book club, or we're going to take a
Well, I need to take a break,
okay,
because I'm organizing so many things. I'm organizing the nursing home performance.
Yes.
I'm traveling for my birthday. Then I need to go to New York to pick up my mother-in-law to bring back to Florida. She's feeling sick. So I can't, but I know you guys are all excited about that. So if you decided that you want to create a book club, let me know, because we can organize, and I can give access to the platform to Brian, for example, if Brian would like to do it. And then we can choose a book that everybody would like to read, and I can talk to the people in the center if they would like to join. And then you guys are the organizers. I can visit sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk. Let's do Kardec Radio in 2 weeks, and then we can talk about and think about books that you would like to do a book club, you think would be good. And then I can bring to the center, see if anyone is interested. And then we can start. We can start it probably in a similar way, instead of doing one chapter every 2 weeks, maybe do 2 chapters every 2 weeks. So it would be a little bit faster. So let's think about. I think if you would like to do it, yes. Yeah, yes,
okay.
Matthew.
So may I I was when you mentioned about choosing a book, then something like hatched into my mind, saying like, what if could we try the books that Brian Foster once was sort of talking about while he was still here, because he's been because Brian Foster, he on YouTube, he has covered quite a bit of books, one of them being from an Anglican vicar named Reverend George Val Owen, and he says I think it's called Beyond the Veil. And there's another book that Brian that he covered called Gone West, mainly about an officer that goes west in the spirit realm, where he goes where like an officer progresses further and further into the hell realms and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like that's just a suggestion.
Wow, that's interesting.
This would be an American one, and he does bridge. He bridges. He does, because he did do spiritism, because he was in charge of the Northwest.
Yeah,
Spiritist.
yeah, that guy.
And then, but he bridged into spirituality too. So he tried to be the flame bearer, just like Elsa told me a long time ago. It's like bring spiritism to Americans. He did it. He was introduced to spiritism, and he was inspired by it, but he's also trying to build the bridge.
Oh.
So his books are his attempt to bringing spiritist ideas to the masses. And I think, and since he had that center, and I do believe like some of the stuff you're talking about sounds like he's utilizing some of the mediumistic studies, I'm guessing, I haven't read them, to come in and use those as worthy messages. But this would be like, in many ways, this would be like studying like an Edgar Casey, or this would be an Americanized book instead of like Divaldo, Chico, or even like if we want to do Allan Kardec, or Leon Denis, or something, one of the ones of the mainstay spiritist books. This would be an option for it, and I'm okay with it myself.
Oh yeah.
The thing is, this is a spiritist study.
Oh.
So because it's a spiritist study, we should study books that are well known to Brazilians, for example, because all these mediums that provide hundreds and hundreds of books, like Chico Xavier, over 400, Divaldo Franco, over 200, and people never even heard of it. So it's a way that we can also publish, talk about these books, and any book that we would like to read to create a book club. It is important that's a well-known book that we all have like confirmation that is good. Like, it's not that this one is not good, but I don't know, I haven't read any of his books, and to do this would need to have read and to say, no, this is a good book, because we don't want to do a book club on for example, on a fantasy book, or someone that has an imagination and create a book. Would it be good, really, a real story, a book that's channeled by a medium, that's a real story that really happened. So this is food for thought, that things that we can think about. But
otherwise you would have to disassociate the book club from the center, just similar to what Angie did with GAG. GAG is not attached to the center, even though there's an overlap.
Book club on his own, but then it's not like a spiritist book club. It's a spiritualist book club. Then it's totally fine. And there are so many interesting books, not just from him, but like, for example, Brian Weiss. I admire him so much. Phenomenal books. There are thousands of amazing books, but connected to the Spiritist Center would be good to be a Spiritist book. That's the
okay. All right.
But my friend, we have to finalize over the time. Yeah.
Keep that thought, Matthew, because maybe, like it says, it's like maybe this group, this place like here is tied to a center. That does not mean we cannot start. Just as Angie was telling me before you logged in, that I needed to start a center in Fargo, but it's like I'm only here for another month and a half, maybe 2 months. But still, I'm saying that the fact of me to try to start something. So maybe keep that in your mind, and maybe it will. The candle will burn bright enough that you will be inspired to start another thing of your own. Like I purchased a Zoom subscription, so I can host a Zoom call now. I can host one now.
You purchase a Zoom subscription. Why did you purchase? It's free. Why did you purchase?
I can't host it. I can only do 40 minutes. For me to do this meeting that time when you were doing your run, I had to buy it in order to have the capabilities. And I didn't even have the chance to like figure it out enough so I could record it. So I have a pro subscription now. So,
well, use it.
so I have to put it to use now.
Yeah. Well,
So you better call me next week.
You and Matthew, maybe you guys want to do an extra book club. Well, Matthew, you see, now he has a subscription.
And yes, Sonia, I mentioned this in our conversation. I can host a Zoom call. We can sit there and chit chat and practice.
Yeah, let's do that.
Why
Let's
I said
do that. Let's do that next week.
All right.
Very good, my friend. So, Brian, can you do our final prayer, please?
Yes. Dear Lord, wonderful Master, mentors of our homes, watch over us now as we part company. Let the discussions we had today, the thoughts, the questions, and the answers inspire us, come into our minds and into our hearts, so that we may learn from this wonderful book and how we could learn to live a life like Alcyone, and that we can be the inspiration, the guidance, the helping hand that lifts up all of those that we meet. Let the light and love that we just read about from this wonderful woman of the past be an inspiration for us to do, if not to the same level, something similar, so that we may benefit from this wondrous knowledge and how it will help us in our own paths to your glorious love and light. Amen.
So
Thank you so much. Very, very beautiful, very powerful book. Thank you for all of you brave people that you started and you ended. All the other ones, the 15 other ones who came one, twice, and that's it. Never more showed up. So you won the trophy today.
and thanks you too, Angie.
I was just super tired.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
That's why the lights are off. You're about to go to sleep.
But it was
I didn't even want to wake you up. I'm like, okay, let's.
I'm sorry, but it is a great book. It was a great book. I mean, it's
Yeah.
and it is inspiring. It's sad, but it was really nice. It's good, and it's hard to be as good as her. I mean, like you said, it's gonna take a few reincarnations before we get that good or that
But that doesn't mean you can't start today.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, even reading the book, we are already improving because we see, gosh, I can do better than what I do right now.
Yeah.
Well, and as I said in a course from a couple weeks ago, this all took place before Allan Kardec came on the scene. So look at if you were to go back and reread these things, how much of this stuff that she talks about, that she speaks, will come into what will be known as our Spiritist doctrine.
Yes, yes.
Good
And
point.
how much of this has been verified?
Is Father Damiano one of the spirits from the other one or no?
From the other one, which other one?
The ones that you keep talking about, Brian.
Oh,
Emmanuel?
Emmanuel, yeah.
that was Angie was supposed to research that, because in English it never says it. In the English version of Renunciation, Emmanuel just does his prescription, but it says in the writing there that he met Alcyone and Father Damiano, but he did not, and never said that he was Father Damiano.
Yeah.
So I always thought he was one of the other priests there in Spain.
However, interestingly, Brian, I'm just reading the back cover of this book.
Mm-hmm.
The last sentence says, by means of the psychography of Francisco Candida Javier, the Spirit's author's collaborator, we are introduced to another one of Emmanuel's incarnations, this time as Father Damiano.
Okay.
Yeah.
There it is. That
You see?
Wow.
that is why I should have. That's why I should have the paper copy instead of the digital copy. Thank you.
This is the first time I'm seeing that, because I agreed with you, Brian, that in the beginning it sounds like they're two separate persons, but the back
Right.
cover of this is saying that he's Emmanuel.
Yes, because
I didn't see it before.
Because Emmanuel, many times he likes to talk about his reincarnations as a third person, because he doesn't like to say when I was that person, but he refers to himself as a third person. And then later on, you figure out, oh, actually, that was him mentioning like another person. So there is another book that he talks about his reincarnation in Brazil as another priest. He was my goodness, what's his name? I need to remember. But it's another book that he talks about this priest, the reincarnated in Brazil, and tells the whole story, and was himself, but he refers as a third person.
Not translated yet.
Yeah, in Portuguese. Yes. Very good, my friends. Thank you so much. Write it down, books that you think would be good, and in 2 weeks we can talk again and maybe another book club. But then you guys will organize it and I will help you out. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Happy birthday, Angie.
Oh, she's gone.
Yep, she missed it.